Do you have anybody waiting?
Hello. Yes, we have Cozy Reads Mystery, which is
Hey,
Ro.
Ro. Hi,
She is
Ro.
waiting. I'm sorry I started late. I'm just all over the place, but I wanted to introduce everybody to Elizabeth. So tell us about you. Introduce yourself.
Well, I am Elizabeth from LizziefayeLovesBooks, and I'm excited to be here.
Yay! I'm so mad. I have no idea what to say. Um, I guess I'll just start. I'll ask you a few questions. What inspired you to start your channel?
Well, because I like to talk, and when I first learned about BookTube, I watched it for a few months, probably 6 months, and I kept like I was nervous to even comment. And I wanted, like, I would watch videos and I wanted to say something. I wanted to comment. And every time I would click comment, it would say, "You must have a channel." Well, it didn't mean you had to make videos. It just means
Yeah.
you had to like open an account. And so I would click back off, like, "Oh, I can't do that." And I was just nervous. And finally I was like, "Okay, I can do this." So I started commenting, and then, as I talked to different people, kind of like other people get started too, people will say, "Oh, well, you should start a channel." And I'm like, "Well, I'm thinking about it." So it was just kind of one of those things where I just couldn't keep quiet any longer. And I wanted to jump in and be part of the community. And so I did.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got started. I would watch. Well, back then I watched Bookable.
Hmm.
Oh, I watched her all the time, and I know her name's Ariel, but I can't think of her last name. She's a huge
Bassett,
book. Excuse me.
Ariel Bassett.
Yes, I would watch her too, and I was a few years older. I'm a few years older than her, but not a lot. And that was just, I was like, oh my goodness, I like to read. I should do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, before I even discovered any of that, when like years ago, um, I don't know when, but I was probably a teenager. My sister was younger, we would just watch YouTube, just regular YouTube. I didn't
Hmm.
even know any of this was a thing,
Well,
and I
I don't
guess
think
then it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know
But
who. I think I've heard somewhere who is considered like the first booktuber, and I'm not sure who that is. Um, so it hasn't been all that long, like within 10 years
yeah,
probably,
yeah, it
since the
was
first,
only.
booktube.
I know I had a channel um way back, so that I don't know. It wasn't even. I never commented, so I don't know why I had one. But probably just because of my Gmail.
Hmm.
And so, and at the same time I was watching, I started seeing booktube videos. I was also watching like yarn videos because I crochet, and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even. And I would see like house stuff. I don't know how to. I guess mom videos or stuff like that
Hmm.
about decorating your house and doing
Yeah.
frugal stuff and all. Well, I didn't know all this stuff was on YouTube, and it was only like 10 years ago. I think mine says
Hmm.
2013 when I started this channel,
Hmm.
and so thinking about doing a channel then, I was just gonna comment. I guess I got brave enough to do that, and I did that forever, and then so
Who
it's
was the
four.
first booktuber that you watched? Was it Bookables?
Probably it was either Bookables or Ariel Bassett.
Hmm.
Probably I did those at about the same time, and then I
Hmm.
started seeing other people, and then I somehow found you and found uh, Sarah and different people. That bookish knitter, I can never
Yeah.
remember. bookish knitter, and just all kind of different people. And I didn't at first. It was just everybody was YA and all, and I just watched it, and I
Hmm.
would say, okay, nice video. That'd be my comment, nice video, because I didn't know nothing about the book. I didn't really read, even though I was the age. I didn't really read YA. That wasn't my thing. So when I found other people, and I was like, oh, not everybody reads YA or
Yeah.
just
Did
YA.
you did you read any YA books because you heard about them on BookTube?
Um, Not really. I just
Really?
never
I
was
I totally did
interested.
because that was the prevalent group of
I know
channels.
a lot of people did, but
Mhm.
I just didn't. It just wasn't my thing.
And here you were not that far from being a teen at the time, so
Not really. And I was just in my early 20s, and but even as a teenager, I've never. I mean, I read some like Twilight. That was my life when it came out. Me, my mom, all our friends and stuff. But other than that, no, it really didn't. I don't know, just something about me. I just wasn't a YA reader, and I still ain't.
Well,
So,
nothing wrong with
with
that.
that question, what is your preferred type of book to read?
Well, there's a close tie between cozy mysteries and Christian fiction, Southern humor, um, and dystopian. I like a good dystopian as long as it doesn't have a lot of foul language. Like Hunger Games, yeah, I love that. And I was trying to think. One set of books that did read because of BookTube was the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices. And after I read those, I thought, okay, I've done this. That's good enough. So that particular type was not for me, but I went ahead and finished both of those series. And but like a really good dystopian, I really like way before BookTube, I read Handmaid's Tale. Now I've never seen the show, but I've read The Handmaid's Tale, and when it came out, when like a year or two ago, I read the Testaments. I really like that. So that type of thing I like, but I really mostly like comfort reads and things that are not too heavy. I do like historical
Yeah,
fiction, but I'm hard pressed to pick one up unless I have to for book club, and then I end up really loving a lot of what I read. So
yeah,
I need sometimes extra motivation to pick up something, but then I'm always usually glad that I did.
yeah. That's kind of how I am with some historical fiction. I'm not big on it, but anytime I've read one, I've liked it and all. And I think my preferred genres or type of book is I used to read a lot more Christian books, like nonfiction. Like I
Uh-huh.
would read, I cannot remember his Lucado or something. I
Oh,
can't
Max
remember.
Lucado? Hmm.
Yeah, I would read his. Even as a teenager, I read his
Oh,
a
that's cool. I
lot.
haven't read anything by him, but I know who you're talking about.
Oh, they are
I
so
just
good.
noticed the comments. I had it on the wrong setting. So
Oh,
anyway, thank
wasn't even
you,
paying attention. Hey,
Rose,
everybody in the
talking about my
comments.
hair. Thank you. I just got it cut today. It was a little short. I was telling Amber before we went live. It's she cut it a little shorter than what I wanted. I showed her like this, but then it ended up here, you
Yeah.
know. But it'll
Well,
grow.
maybe if you
Well,
straighten it, it might be a
yeah, I
little.
could probably.
It
Oh,
might
now
straighten out a little bit longer.
I have completely messed up my. Now I've got some weird thing on here that I don't even want
Oh,
on
I hope
my
it's nothing I'm
screen. There
doing.
we go. Okay, good. It went. It.
Okay. I
So I was just
really
looking
don't
to
know what I'm
see who was
doing with.
here. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Hey.
So Nancy, you have a lot of different channels. Like, are you talking about YouTube channels? I didn't know you had even one channel. I need to subscribe if you're making videos, Nancy.
Yeah.
I did not even realize. She said she found out about BookTube after getting invited by Tiffany last December. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember when Tiffany and I were Goodreads friends, and so she sent when she started her channel, she sent a message out to Goodreads friends that she was starting a channel, and so that's how I knew about her.
I think
Um,
I found her from you, maybe.
Really?
I don't remember how I found Tiffany.
Well, we had her and Ro on a live stream for March Mystery Madness.
That might be
That might have
what it
been
was.
that
That
might
was
have been
probably
it
what it was.
because we did like a cozy chat
Yeah,
on there.
I think that was probably it. Yeah.
So I was asking you who your first booktuber was. Mine was the Gwendolyn reading method. And I found one of her videos that had been reposted onto a Facebook page that I was looking at. And so I clicked on it and watched it and I was like, wow, this is just a girl she was talking about library book sales. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I wonder why she was doing that. And then finally, I kept clicking around and realized that she had a channel on YouTube. And then from there, I think I found Katie Tastic, and I watched a bunch of hers, which is kind of how I got onto the YA kick. Now, Gwen, she read a lot of everything, but she's probably the one that inspired me to really work hard to read a lot. Because when I first started watching her, she was talking about how the previous year she had read over 200 books in a year, and I was like maybe 212 or 215 one year, and then the next year she got to like 240 something, and I just thought that was incredible. I was like, oh my goodness. And I mean, that was really before I learned how to speed up audiobooks or anything like that, but she's just a fast reader, and she's hardly ever on anymore. In fact, I just checked her channel to see if she is still on, and she did a video right at the end of 2020 to like kind of do a recap of what she'd been reading for 2020, but she hadn't been on in much in a couple years. But anyway, she was my introduction to BookTube,
Okay, that's
and
cool.
yeah, and also she had a really cool reading system. And in fact, that was the name of her channel, the Gwendolyn Reading Method. She thought that, and this makes total sense. She says that it's um, you should read according to the times of the day when you have different levels of energy. So, like, she divides her books into three categories. One category, like a level one, needs a lot of brain power. So, she would read that first thing when she has some reading time, like at the first 10 minutes of her lunch at work. She would read something that was just like real heavy, like nonfiction or something that required a lot of brain power. And she would just digest that a little bit at a time. And then she would go to a level two book to finish out the rest of her lunch hour. But then, like an hour before bedtime, she would read a level three book, which required no brain power. It was just like, something fluffy and fun. And she would read that before she went to bed. And that made total sense to me because you can't, like, as you're getting sleepy and ready to go to bed, you can't expect to comprehend something that, needs a lot of
Yeah,
mind
don't read
power.
War and Peace before you go to
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
while I don't do her system exactly, um, I do think that makes total sense. So,
yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I can see how that would be helpful.
mm.
If
And
I
I
would,
think I hadn't really thought about at that point reading multiple books at one time. And so maybe that is what I took away from that. Is that I could read multiple books at one time, just different times of the day and according to where I am and what I'm doing, I could pick
yeah,
up a different type of book.
yeah. Well, it seems like Roe is kind of like us, got started watching it by the YA booktubers, and then she said
See.
she said about 10 years ago was how long she's been watching it, and
Wow, 10
she grew out
years.
of that, and then she was happy to find you by searching Cozy Mysteries.
Do you know how to put the comment up on the screen? You just
Um,
click on it.
I'll
If you
try
click on
that.
it, it'll come up on the screen.
Okay,
Yeah, and then to take it off, you just click on it again or
okay,
click on a different one.
all right. Oh, this is interesting. I like to hear the authors read their own books as
Oh,
well.
yeah, and you know who does a great
Yeah.
job of that is Fanny Flagg. She is so
Okay.
good at reading her own books. She's great.
I've
I
never
love
read a
her.
Fanny Flag.
Oh,
I
you need
should do
to.
that.
All right, at Christmas time, I want you to read A Redbird Christmas by Fanny
Okay.
Flagg. It's
A
not that long.
Redbird Christmas. Okay,
Yes, it's
I don't have much
beautiful, and
idea.
I think well, it takes place in Alabama. I started to say it takes place in Georgia, but it takes place in Alabama.
Alabama, close enough, same deal. And then I have tons of channels in all different genres. So Nancy, what kind of different channels do you have?
Yeah, what genres do
Mm,
you read, Nancy, besides
yeah,
cozy mysteries?
yeah. And then the niche booktubers are great. I follow Teresi Morris. She
Therese,
has
it might be
such a
Therese
calm
Tracy.
voice. Never heard of that. Heard of
Yeah, I'll have to
her.
look her up.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see.
My main phone is plugged in, but I've got my old phone here so I can look up stuff
Yeah.
while I'm thinking about it. Is that the correct spelling of it?
Let's see. T
How do you say your
E
name? Denisha? Is it
D
Denisha? Is that
E N I S C H A.
well, there it is. I'm trying to find search. All
Hey
right.
Storm.
E yeah, but I need to spell
T E R
Therese.
R E S S E. Yeah.
What's the last name?
Morris. Morris.
Okay, there she is.
Okay.
Let me see here.
Mhm.
Is that I never know where to put the thing. There we go.
Right there.
Is that
That's
who we're
good.
talking about? Why do I think I have to yell? Denisha, is that who you're talking about? Let's see what kind of videos she has. Oh, so she actually reads audiobooks.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And it's Terasee,
There's
Terasee, Morris. And so she's got here where she read Holes and what else?
okay.
The Yearling. Oh, I can't listen to the Yearling. I can't read it. I can't listen to it. I just can't. I tried watching the movie, one of the not the very oldest one, but the one with the designing woman girl in it who played the mom, and I couldn't do it
Mm.
because I feel like the mom in the Yearling. I know she's trying to protect her family and all that, and the fact people are more important than animals, but she just didn't get the connection that her child had with that deer, and she just disregarded it, that it wasn't important. That's how I felt about it. I don't know how
Okay.
y'all felt about the Yearling. If anybody's read the Yearling or watched it,
I've never
um,
read it or seen the
I,
movie, so
yeah, and I mean, they were very poor. They lived out in the forest, and this child befriended a deer. It was almost like a pet, and yet the
okay.
deer was eating the garden. Well, the garden was all they had for food. So the mom wanted to, kill the deer because it was eating the garden and taking food from her family. So she was being a mama bear herself, but she totally disregarded how important that deer was to the child. And that's just what bothered me about it.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's probably an unpopular opinion because it's a very popular book. I mean, it's a Florida book too. I live in Florida.
Yeah,
I've been to the lady's
I've heard
house
about it,
where
but I've
who
never
she wrote.
read it or seen it. And here's
The
what.
author is oh gosh, now I can't even say her name, but her home place is in Florida, in Central Florida, and I've been there and everything. And my husband's read some of her books. Um,
Oh,
Now
cool.
I can't even say the name. She's a famous Florida author, but she's passed away now.
Okay. So
So,
Rose said that she thinks Nancy means she watches channels, she doesn't make videos.
okay, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I do too, Nancy. I watch um, a lot of different types of booktubers, and um,
And
that read
Storm
all kinds
shares
of
your
different genres.
yeah, Storm shares your opinion. She said she couldn't watch or read it.
Yeah, is it for the same reason, Storm, or did you have another reason? I mean, I tried, but I just got so angry.
Yeah.
I was trying to go back and yeah, I think you're right, Ro, that's what Nancy meant. She says I have tons of channels, like tons that she subscribes to and she
Yeah.
watches.
Uh,
Or Old Yeller. Now, see, Old
yeah.
Yeller, I'm okay with
Yep.
because
Me too.
he saved the boy and got rabies, and so that was really the
Yeah.
only. It was sad,
Yeah.
um, but that was really kind of the only
The
option.
only option they
Yeah,
had.
yeah, but still tough, man. Oh my goodness, heart
Yeah.
wrenching for sure. But wasn't there a puppy at the end? Wasn't there like a
I, I
female
want to
dog
say
that turned
yes.
up that had a couple puppies or
I
something?
want
I
to
want to
say
say,
yes,
or
but
maybe
I'm
I'm
not
thinking of Turner and
sure.
Hooch. Turner and
It,
Hooch is a good one.
yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Turner and Hooch is kind of almost like a modern day retelling of Old Yeller in a way. If you really think about it, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
speaking of animal stories, why don't we talk about that? Do you have any animal books that you like or that you don't like?
Not really. I'm not a big animal person, but
Really?
I guess I would be like Danishka just said. I like Charlotte's Web.
Yeah,
I
well, that's a
read
good one.
that when I was a kid, and think I've read it once since then.
Hmm.
So
That was
Charlotte's
my first memory of a teacher reading us a book of any length. My third grade teacher read Charlotte's Web to us. Um, she read like a chapter a day, and I was mesmerized. I just thought that was the best book ever, and I loved it. So
and I don't know if this is considered an animal book. I guess it is, but The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
yeah, it's
So
fantasy, but yeah,
I've read all of those
okay, yeah,
and seen all the movies. I've seen like
definitely,
two
definitely
or
has
three
animals
different
in it.
adaptations. So
Awesome. Um, some people can't read Marley and Me because they know that, there's a sad part of that. But that was such a good book. It's I think based on a true story, and it's about a dog who's just crazy. But the owner, John Grogan, I think he was a newspaper reporter or something, if I'm thinking correct. But anyway, he wrote the book Marley, our dog named Marley. The original title was not Marley and Me. I don't think it was something different. And then, but anyway, it's just the story of this dog Marley and all of his antics, and it was so endearing, so cute. I liked it, and I also read one. I have to think of the name of the author. My buddy read it with another Amber. Amber Eats Books. It was about cats. Shoot, I have to look up the name of it. Something about. Okay, go ahead and talk, and let me find the book before we get off the
but
subject of
speaking of
animals.
cats, there was some kind of book that are like kids books or um might be middle grade. I'm not sure, but it's like the series of books, and I read a few of them because my cousins were reading them, and they were little at the time. I can't remember the name of them. War Warriors.
Oh, about the cats.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
read maybe one or two of them with
my
them.
my youngest daughter read almost all of those, and she still has them. They're in her closet. And I
Yeah,
finally read the first series of six, and they were pretty good. I had a hard time getting into it at first, and even though I love cats, it just seemed so out of the realm of possibility. I
yeah,
couldn't wrap my head around it. But once I did, I got into it, and I really did enjoy
yeah.
it. I wish I could think of the name of this, but it's an author. I even follow him on Twitter. Um, and now he's also got a book about ducks because he's got pet ducks too. But it's something about how he shares his house with like all these cats, him and his wife and all their cats. And
Oh no.
so cute. I cannot
That'd be
think.
my sister. She'd have, if she didn't live at home, she would have 1,000 cats.
Let
Oh man.
me just go to Red Books and I'll
Let's
scroll through and
see.
I'll find it.
Let's see. Oh,
So,
and speaking of children's books, I have read all the Beatrix Potter books.
okay.
I love those. Those were some of the best books I read as a child.
Are
Yeah.
you talking about the actual Peter
Peter
Rabbit books
Peter
or the
Rabbit.
ones because there's like an adult series by Susan Wittig Albert that's like Beatrix Potter World. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't
Donna from
know
Studio in the
that.
Library was talking about reading those last year, I think, and she was telling me about them. They look really cute.
No, I
Um,
have to find those.
yeah, I think
Never
it's
heard
Susan
of
Wittig
that.
Albert.
No, it's just the regular Peter Rabbit and the whole series or whatever.
I think I've only ever read just Peter Rabbit. I don't think I've read any others
Oh
by
my
her.
goodness. And I've seen the movies too. My grandma bought me a box set and it was these small little books and they had the best illustrations. I love
Oh, I
her
bet.
illustrations.
Well, didn't she
And
do them? Did Beatrix Potter, wasn't she an artist?
yeah, she illustrated all of her books.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And it was just so good. I love them.
I'm trying to scroll through my read list so I can find it was
Okay.
2 or 3 years ago when we read it, so I have to go.
Okay.
Just, I cannot
Denisha.
think of the author or the name of the book or anything to search it,
Okay.
but
Denisha
I would recommend it.
was saying that she used to read all the time. Now she listens to audiobooks. And I'm just getting into audiobooks. I might have read one last year,
Really?
and then I read, how many have I read this year? I think I'm on my second or third of this year.
Uh-huh.
So I'm getting into audio a little bit. And I tried to read, um, where
Ebook?
you're reading the book, but it's on
Ebook?
a device, ebook, and I really couldn't get into ebooks. It's just, I think it's just too much eye strain for a
Oh, yeah.
device
Well,
and
you might
stuff.
have your screen too bright too,
That could be it,
or
and
not bright
all, but
enough. For me, I need it very bright so I can see it. And
yeah,
even my phone, I keep it very bright. And my daughter is like, "How can you have it so bright?" I said, "So I can see it."
yeah, I had to have mine bright too. But Storm said an animal
Oh,
book she wanted to read was Watership Down. I've never read that.
I've got a copy of it, but I haven't ever read it either.
Is that something to do with a rabbit? Does that have to do with a rabbit?
I think so. I don't know.
That's
It's an
all I
animal,
really
kind of a
know.
fantasy animal story. I
Yeah,
think.
something.
I don't know, but it's a classic.
Yeah, if it's a classic, I probably don't know nothing about it. I'm not a classics reader.
Yeah, I haven't read very many. I didn't have to read much in the way of classics for school, and I didn't really ever think about what people read for school until I was watching BookTube and people would
Yeah,
talk about, books you
I
had to read
read
for
this in
school. And I'm
school,
like,
and
what did I have to read?
yeah, I was home. I did Christian school and then homeschool,
Oh, okay.
and I didn't have to do most of the books I read were let's see, I did have to read The Hiding Place.
Okay.
I think I had to read that one. I had to read not Robinson Crusoe. What's the other one? Um, Swiss Family Robinson.
Okay.
I
I
know
still
I had
haven't
to
read
read
that.
those two, and those are really the only ones I remember.
I've read a couple of other books by Corey Ten Boom, but I still haven't read The Hiding Place. I own it, and I've
Mm.
what was the other one you just mentioned?
Swiss
Swiss Family
Family
Robinson.
Robinson.
I've got that too, and I haven't read it.
Yeah, it was good.
I bet. What I had to I don't remember anything we read in high school except I remember in class one time we read Beowulf and we took turns reading parts of it. And in college I had to read Red Badge of Courage and The Scarlet Letter, and that's all I remember.
Yeah. Storm said the only one she remembers reading is Red Badge of Courage, and she
You read
hated it.
Really? See, I liked it. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what it was about, and I ended up enjoying Red Badge of Courage. I would read it again. I don't remember it, but I remember enjoying it. So, that's
I
cool.
do remember in middle school we read when I was in eighth grade. We read The Giver,
Mhm.
just the first book,
Mhm.
and oh, I love that book. I
Yeah.
still love that book. But the
Yeah.
movie, if you haven't seen the movie, you ain't missing nothing. It's bad, very bad.
Well, I don't think it's bad, me personally. I mean, I'm not to invalidate your opinion because that's you're totally entitled to your opinion, but it just has a different ending. And the ending it ended a lot more exciting. So it made me think, okay, if they're going to do a sequel, it can't be anything like the book sequels. It's got to be totally different because the ending was just totally different than the book. But I
Or
didn't
the
mind it. It was different for sure.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. I just
Excuse me.
That's just me. I didn't like
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but
Well, totally valid. Totally valid.
yeah. And the sequels, are they good?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I
Um
haven't read
when you
them.
read the second book, you don't really understand what it has to do with the first one. It's just another community in that same world. But
Okay,
then the third book is about a different community in the same world, and then it starts to connect together.
okay,
So you start to see the connections, and it's really
okay.
cool as it all gets revealed. It's pretty cool.
Interesting. I think one reason I didn't like the movie is that the people weren't the way I expected them to be.
Yeah,
That's that's usually my problem with
yeah.
movie adaptations is they stuff just, and it may not even be anything that was specifically said in the book about how they look, just something I have in my mind.
Well, sometimes it's like they completely disregard what
Oh yeah,
the
totally.
descriptions are in the book, and they make them completely different, and it's like, no, that's part of who they're supposed to be, is
Yep,
how they're described in the book. So,
totally. And then, okay, the other day I was doing a thing on Discord with Dice
mhm.
and Dice. I can't even pronounce Dice.
It's actually Desus 19
Dice.
Hearts.
Okay,
I called her because I just assumed it was Dices because her name is Di, but then when I heard her pronounce it, it's Desus. She said, but she'll
okay,
answer the book.
okay. Well, Dice, and she was giving me some question. One that I remember. Me and her both couldn't remember the question, but one of them was she was saying that I could ask you what are your bookish pet peeves because that was something we were talking about, and
Okay.
she was saying that she has a problem with breaking spines.
Okay.
Me, I I don't. She has a problem with the spine gets broke and stuff,
And I think, of
but
course, that's like a physical thing. I thought you were going to say something like love triangles because it seems like she told me one time that she hates love triangles.
oh,
If
that
I may
might
be thinking about somebody different, but I want to say that's who I'm thinking of because we were
okay.
talking about the Hannah Swenson series, and I was like, then don't read that because that love triangle goes on and on and on.
Okay. So, what are some of your book pet peeves?
Well, as far as physical books go, I mean, yeah, if it's a book you're going to keep on your shelf, then yeah, you don't want the spine broken. If it's a library
Yeah,
book, it's probably already broken, so no big deal. I hate to see people bend pages down. But as far as actual writing in a book, when you first said pet peeve, I was going to say just unnecessary foul language. I get irritated when an author just throws it in there because they think that's what people want to read, or because they think that's realistic. And occasionally I get that it's realistic, but sometimes I think it's just lazy writing to just
Yes.
throw it in there when it's not necessary. So
Yeah.
that would be my biggest one.
And I don't mind foul language so much, but if there's too much of it in one book, I'm like, oh my goodness, can you
Mhm.
stop using this word every other page or
Yeah, come up with
every other
something
chapter or
intelligent to
something?
say.
I
Yep.
mean, yeah, everybody says something once in a while, but every other chapter or every other 3 or 4
Every
pages?
5 times per page? No.
Yeah.
Let me think if I have any others. Hmm. Bookish pet peeves.
Well, Storm said she can't break the spines or write in her book, but
Yeah,
she
I don't write. I
doesn't
don't
mind if
write in mine.
secondhand books are like that. So I never write in books ever. I've never been one of those people. And when people talk about annotating a book, I'm just it's oh, for the longest time I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah, I
And
have
then
underlined in my Bible. Not
yes,
lately, but I used
I've
to when I was
done
younger. Depending on what the pastor,
that.
if the
I
pastor
like
tells you, you're like, okay, underline this. I'm like,
it in my
okay, I'll underline.
yes,
But yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah,
So, and I think, the whole spine thing is more of an issue if you've got a paperback book. If you've
yes,
got a hardcover book, then, it's not as big of a deal. Um, oh, I know a question I was going to ask you. If you're reading a hardcover book, do you take the dust jacket off to read it, or do you leave it on?
definitely. I have to. It bothers me. It moves up and down, and it bothers me so bad. And I've even when I haven't took it off, I've even tore it a little.
Oh, really?
So I have to I have to take it off.
See, I leave mine on. I like, because I love the dust jackets. I just want to hold that beautiful book and read out of it and just experience the whole book in all its glory. So I leave it on. But I know what you're saying. It does move up and down sometimes, and you have to readjust. And you have to be careful not to tear it if
Yep.
it's a nice one.
Yep.
But yeah, I like to leave mine on.
Sean says must take the dust jacket off.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I leave it on. I like to leave it on.
No, that's not me.
um
Um,
oh, what do you use for a bookmark? Do you use an
okay,
actual
for
bookmark?
bookmark, I have one bookmark. It's a can't think of the name of the show. It's with Sheldon and Leonard and
I know what you're
Big
talking
Bang,
about.
Big Bang,
Big
Big
Bang,
Bang
yeah.
Theory, and that's I have a one bookmark like that. Other than that, I just try to. Usually, I have my phone like right beside me, so I just write down the page and then just not use anything.
Oh,
Cause
really?
yep, just write the page down and then go back on my phone and look and see.
Oh,
And
I have.
a lot of times I can even remember where I was, or at least close to where I was.
You sound like my daughter, because she would always say that. She's like, I don't need a bookmark. I know what page I'm on. And I'm like, well, I need a bookmark.
Yeah,
And sometimes I'll use, whatever I can find. But eventually, I mean, I have a boatload of bookmarks. But of course, there's usually
yeah,
not one right at hand when I need one. So when I
yep,
start a new book, I try to remember to go get one. And if I don't have one, I'll usually flip the book over until I can get up and go get a bookmark whenever I get ready to put it down, because I
well,
need to have something.
my mom dog ears the page,
Now that
and
would be a,
that drives me crazy
yeah, I wouldn't want to
because
do that.
I've seen books I'll like buy a secondhand book and it'll have it down and it won't come back up, and
Yeah.
then sometimes it messes with the writing on the page,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's more easy for a page to get tore that way,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
oh She does that all the time, and it drives me insane. And she doesn't use a bookmark. I made her some bookmarks, and she
She
won't.
won't use it.
And every once in a while, she'll be like, "Do you know where that bookmark is, or where a bookmark is?" And she'll
Well,
do it
because
every once in a while.
I get it. If you're reading and you have a bookmark, you have to figure out where to put the bookmark while you're reading. Like sometimes I will hold it in my hand. Like if I'm holding a book, like
Yeah,
like if I'm holding a book, I might have the bookmark like holding it, and I'll read
yeah.
this page, and then I'll switch it over. Well, that's kind of a pain. Or I'll put it on the back of the book,
That's
just
usually what
hold
I
it.
do is put it on the back of the
Yeah,
book.
because if I set it in my lap or something, then it'll fall on the floor and get lost or something, or it'll slide under the chair. So it's
Yeah,
always a trick to know like where to put your bookmark while you're actually reading. And I've
yeah.
tried those little clampy ones, but I don't
Uh,
like those as much as I
I'm
thought
not
I would.
crazy about those.
Yeah. Although my oldest daughter, Emily, that has special needs, sometimes if I leave a book laying around with a bookmark in it, she will come along and take the bookmark out and just lay it aside. I'm like, ah, no, I need
Oh,
that.
freaking,
So,
that would drive me crazy.
yeah, yeah. I'm still scrolling through my read books. And as I'm going, I'm looking for this one particular book. But as I'm going, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I read that. I read that. Because I started back at the beginning of where I started putting in books on Goodreads. And so I'm going through like
Oh,
the oldest books that I've read.
okay. So another question: how
Okay.
do you do your star rating?
I go by my emotional response. I'm not a critical reader, but if I really enjoyed it and it made me feel good and I'm excited about telling somebody about it, then I will give it 5 stars. And I'm not stingy with 5 stars.
That's
If
me,
Yeah,
totally.
and 4 stars if I really enjoyed it, but maybe there was some little things about it that kind of frustrated me, then I'll or if it just wasn't perfect, but I
Yeah.
would still enjoy it. 3 stars is a book I liked, but probably had a lot of foul language, and I'm mad because it had foul language, so I'll give it 3 stars.
Yeah.
And then 2 and 1, I just don't like. So, and
Okay.
how I distinguish between 2 and 1, probably 2 I don't like, and 1 I hate.
Okay.
There's not that many that I hate. So,
And is there ever an instance where you wouldn't rate a book, like wouldn't give it a star?
yes. And I did. And it was kind of controversial, and I just didn't want to rate it because um, I felt like I couldn't rate it. What's the word I'm thinking of? Objectively.
Oh, okay.
So I just didn't. I just
Okay.
marked it red and went on.
I don't always do the stars, but usually, and I'm in the extreme minority, probably one of the only people. And if I liked it, you get 5. If I didn't, I'm probably not gonna give you anything.
Oh,
And
really?
that's that's really it. I might do something in the middle if it's like very problematic for me in a
Hmm.
certain way, like maybe like if I loved the book but I really didn't like something about it, I might do 4. But
Hmm.
usually, if it's not a 5, it's a nothing. That's me.
Really?
That's how I am.
Huh.
I've never really been. I mean, yeah, if I was in a book club and we were all very literary and all cerebral about it and everything, I'd be more specific, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not usually one that I don't read for trying to learn
Right.
something. So I'm not trying to dissect everything to try
Yeah.
to figure out everything about it. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I think about some stuff kind of deep, but not, it's just usually just did I like the book and how I felt
Hmm.
about it.
Hmm.
Was it
So
overall enjoyed and
right.
enjoying enjoyable experience? Then
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you enjoyed a book, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But Storm, I was just reading her comment. She says she's stingy with 5 stars because she doesn't want people to think she just gives them to everything. Um, and Storm, it's so funny that you said that because somebody friended me on Goodreads just the other day. And usually, if someone friends me, I go and compare books. Usually, I will go ahead and accept their friend request regardless, um, unless it's like a creepy old man or something. Um, but I compared books with this lady, and we had some similar books, but every single thing that she had read, she rated 5 stars. And I thought, did she really love all these books, or was just she just didn't want to think about trying to make a decision? Just if I read
Oh my goodness.
it,
That's probably what people think about mine. They probably think, "Oh my God, did you really love everything?" Because I do. I like most things, and if I don't, then when they see that it doesn't have a rating, they're like, "What? What the heck is that?"
oh yeah, yeah, and I that's usually what I think if somebody didn't rate something that
And
they didn't like
sometimes
it.
when I don't rate, I just don't didn't think about it. Just
Yeah.
didn't. It's just to some people, rating a book with the stars is just so important, and to
Hmm.
me, it's just a thing. It's just not that big a
Yeah.
deal.
And one thing that I always try to be conscious of whenever I'm talking about a book is I will try to say I rated it 4 stars. I
Yes.
try not to ever say this is just a 2 star book or oh this is a 5 star book because it might not be to somebody else. I always
Yep.
try to say in my that it was my
In
opinion.
my opinion,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Because two people can read a book and they can read
Yeah.
same book and be totally different books they read.
Right.
You
Right.
know, it's I've always thought there's some quote about a book when you're a child. It um does I can't really remember it, but something about it influences you for the rest of your life or something.
Hmm.
And I've always thought, well, when you're a kid, you're not going into a book like you are when you're an adult. When you're an adult, you're going into it with all of your life experience and all of your thoughts and
Hmm.
preconceived notions and everything. You're not as wide eyed and innocent
Yeah.
and open as
Yeah.
you are when you're a kid and read a book.
Right. Well, true. Yeah.
And so it's different. Like, even just if you read a book as a child and then reading it again as an adult, it can be a different experience
Hmm.
totally because
Hmm.
you've got more thoughts and feelings about things now
Yeah.
than you did when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And I've always thought about that, and not everybody has the same experiences and thoughts and feelings or their upbringing or their whatever. So
Mhm.
that's one reason I don't like to just blanket say this book is dot dot dot. And I did say that I hated that movie, but I hated that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I this or I that. Because you
Right.
may love it.
Right.
It can be your favorite.
Yeah, I was watching someone the other day, and it's not anybody that's like in our immediate friend group or anything like that. So, yeah, I know you're gonna try to figure out who, but I'm not gonna take. I'm not gonna say. But this particular booktuber, she kept saying, um, "This is awful. You don't want to do this. This is all. Oh, that's trash. You don't want to do that." And I was like, "Stop telling me what I want." I
Yeah.
know you can say that it's your opinion, but don't tell me what I want. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm not mad at her. She can say how she wants to, but and I try not to ever be negative, but I just kept watching this video thinking she needs to remember that this is her opinion and not try to project that on her watchers. So anyway, now y'all know it's a she, but anyway. If you want to know,
Yeah.
I'll message you privately, but I'm not gonna say it in public because I'm not
No,
mad
that's
at her or
fine.
anything.
Um,
And it's nobody that's in our cozy mystery chat or anything like that.
okay. Um, but yeah, it just seems like too many people. feel like their thoughts and feelings ought to be the world's thoughts and feelings.
Well, I mean, let's leave Steve Donahue out of this.
Oh goodness. I don't think I follow him. Oh
He's a
goodness.
mess.
I hear a lot of people talk about him, but
Oh yeah.
I need to.
Well, and there's no way to watch all of his videos because he posts like 3 a day,
Oh my gosh.
sometimes more. Is that your phone?
Yeah.
You hear music on? That's cute.
Yeah.
I was
Oh.
just today trying to figure out how to change a notification bell because on my phone, whenever my daughter gets frustrated because I always have it, a lot of times I'll have it on do not disturb because there's this awful notification that comes. I thought it was just on text messages, but I went through finally and turned that off, and I'm still hearing it. And it's this obnoxious noise, and I can't figure out where it's coming from, and I can't figure out um, how to change it or how to find something new. But I used to have a friend who had this on her phone. She had this little notification. If she got a text message from, I think, her daughter or something, it would say, um, you have a tiny little text message. Please read it. It was just this little baby voice.
I
Please
think I've
read it.
heard that
And I,
before.
I thought, that's what I want. I need something that's not obnoxious. And so
Yeah.
I gotta find that. If any of y'all out there know how to find it. All right, so I found the book. It's called Kitty Cornered. Go all the way back half an hour ago when we were talking about animal books. It's called Kitty Cornered. It's by Bob Tart. And the I'll show it to you in a second, but the subtitle says how Franny and 5 other incorrigible cats seized control of our house and made it their home. And let's see, is that too bright? That's too bright. Hang on. No, it's actually not. I have too many notifications I need to clear off.
Oh, okay.
And he's also got one about ducks that I haven't read,
Oh,
but it
I'll
looks
have
fun because
to
I think he's
check
got some
that
pet
out.
ducks too. So Bob Tart, Bobtarte. And that was a
Okay.
fun book. And I had a conversation with him on Twitter not too long ago because somebody had spammed my Twitter and sent messages to everybody I follow that was
Oh
just a
goodness.
bizarre message. And so he messaged me back. He's like, I don't know what this means. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I got hacked. And this is why. And so but by the way, I really liked Kitty Cornered. And he's like, oh, well, thank you. And so he was telling me about what he's working on now and all that stuff. So that was fun. Oh,
Okay.
hello,
So
Sidebuster Living is here. Hey there.
yeah.
Hello, hello.
I know the
What
name Sodbuster Living, but I
what
can't. I don't know her real name.
what is your first name? Yeah, she
Yeah.
started a booktube channel. It's called And Read
Yeah.
Another Chapter,
Okay.
and she always has her coffee. So yay.
Okay.
You don't have any idea how to switch channels on your phone. If you go, well, first of all, tell us your first name. If you go on your, I'll tell you how to do it. Um, Let me pull up YouTube. The little circle that has your photo icon, if you touch that,
Oh yeah.
and you get a drop down menu, and then it'll say switch account. That's one of the options, switch account, and then it'll show you all of your accounts, and you click on
Yes.
the one you want, and it'll switch.
Yeah. I wasn't even. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. We know who you are, or I do anyway. So this, your little where is it? The picture up here, your little profile. Oh gosh, look at the guy. It's an ad.
It's fine.
Here,
It's
but
fine.
here's Amber's thing there. Oh, anyway, it goes crazy on live shows. Um, the little profile picture is you click on that and then drop down and you click switch account. So that's good. Shalise, that's it. Shalise. Okay,
Really.
that's such a pretty
Okay.
name. Where?
Yes, it
How did
is.
you come to have that name? Um, is that like a? I feel like that's like a combination of 2 names that your parents put together to make one name. Am I right? Is that a good guess? like Charles and Lisa, Shelley's. I don't know. You know what I mean? She says
Yeah, but it's good. I
chicks.
got you, chicks. I appreciate that.
Yes. So Shalise, when you first subscribed to my channel a long time ago, I remember seeing Sodbuster Living. I don't know what that is. And I looked and I was like, oh, well, maybe this is just farming. So I didn't subscribe.
Hmm.
And then later, like more recently, when you um started your other channel, I think I saw it did Chanel, not Chanel, Chantel from Intentional Life. Did she maybe give you a shout out or something? Or maybe I forget now what I saw. Something that that took me to your channel, and you were like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm also
So,
Side by Side Living," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I know who that is." So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm kind of slow on the uptake, but now I know. So yeah, as Sodbuster Living,
okay.
she's got a big following. And you do like homeschooling and farming and all that kind of stuff, right? She says, Mom was working at a Chinese restaurant and the
Mhm.
owner said, oh, I like this name and it stuck. Okay, okay. So Shalise, yeah, that's a beautiful name. I love it. Shalise. So pretty. Um, so now you homeschool your kids, right? And how many do you have that are school age, Shalise?
Um,
I've seen your
so
daughter on one. Oh, when you were doing the mystery box of your the Christian fiction books that you got from christianbooks.com, and you and your daughter were doing that. I saw that. Anyway, Amber, I'm sorry. She'll when she tells us, then we'll see. But go ahead.
what?
I feel like I'm
Uh,
taking over your show, and I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
oh, it's fine.
I have always been accused of if you give me an inch, I'll take a mile, and I'm horrible.
Well, that's fine. I don't. I'm no good at this, so you
You're
can take
fine. You're
over.
doing great. You're doing great.
Um, what I wanted to ask you about, and I think this will be the last thing we really talk about, is all your reading projects. You have the Mystery Madness, March Mystery Madness, and
Well,
then
that's
reading
these
all
are
the
read the month.
Newbery Award winners,
Yeah,
Serious About Series,
yeah,
and reading all the Sunshine State books.
yeah. And that's
So is that
I have
all
a
of
list.
them?
No, I've got a list here. So every month when I do my TBR, I have horrible handwriting, but I go down this list. So this is not
Okay.
really the right order. This was just in the front of my reading journal for this year, and I've made a list. So ongoing projects, I am reading all the Newbery winners, and I just made a list last night. I have 31 left to read.
Okay.
And Sunshine State is the Florida reading list for school kids, and I usually read the sixth to
Okay.
eighth grade books. This year, I did a little video introducing them, and I had everybody vote which ones I should read because I may not read them all this year. So then my big projects, I came up with three different challenges for this year. One was an author binge project. So I wanted to binge at least a couple of authors every month and read three or four books by each of those authors. The idea
Okay.
was to take authors from my shelves that I have a lot of unread books by and just read as many as I could, but mainly focusing on ones I can get on audio so I can listen to those books and then I don't have to keep the physical book unless it's a favorite that I want to keep. So it's just a way to try to get books off my shelf faster. And
Okay.
then I also I wrote down a Little House Read Along because we were going to try to do that this year, but then we realized the books were out of print. So that one is not happening right now. I have BookTube Spin on here because that's every quarter. The series about series, 21 series that I want to finish this year, and I'm on track. I've been doing about two a month, and I picked the series that I was closest to finishing. And
Okay.
then um, another project I have is to finish my Stackmas tree. I don't know if you remember that from like a couple of Christmases
Yes.
ago, where I had this tree of stacks, and I only have four books left to read off of that. And then I have a
Okay.
TBR jar of mostly nonfiction books. And then I'm in 2 book clubs, kind of 3, but the third one's not meeting right now. So I have 2 library book clubs. And I was thinking about starting a TBR jar of audiobooks, but I haven't yet.
Okay.
And then I have just here buddy reads and read alongs to remind myself every month, do I have any read alongs or buddy reads that I'm doing? And I have 3 coming up in July. And then 12 middle grade or YA trilogies that I'm reading this year. I have 12 trilogies, 12 trilogies. 12 um, that
Okay.
I had only read the first book, and I wanted to finish, like, read books 2 and 3 of all those trilogies, and they're all either middle grade or YA. So I've only finished 4 so far, and I'm on book 3 of the 5th one. So I'm a little bit behind on that. But I have
Okay.
some planned for later in the year that I can get on audio, so I think I can catch up. So
Okay.
that's my projects, my reading projects.
Goodness. And which one do you think you like the most? You like doing the most?
I think the series one, because I love reading series and I love the accomplishment of checking them off, and not all of them are completed series. I like to just stay caught up. I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, I'm not going to start the series until they're finished writing it because I don't want to wait for the next book." I would love to be caught up and waiting for the next book so that when
Yeah,
it
that's
comes out,
me.
I'm ready to read it. I don't mind waiting, and I would rather be caught up and ready.
Yeah, that's me. I'm not a wait until the whole series is
Yeah, yeah.
out.
Oh,
And I
Storm.
don't.
Go ahead. Sorry, I was going to
Oh,
answer
I was
Storm's
just gonna
question.
say that I don't. I may read one book in a series and then go to another book, and it be 2 months before I read the next book.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've done that mostly in the past, but this year for some reason I got in a mood. Well, really last year too. I got in a mood to do more binge reading and, like, go from one to the next while the characters are still fresh in my mind.
Okay.
And sometimes it can backfire if there's too many and you get kind of tired of them. But I think you
Yeah.
could do 4 or 5 and
Yeah.
without getting too tired of them. But, like, if you
Yeah.
set out to binge read all of the Hannah Swenson, you'd be like, you
Yeah.
know,
I would. That'd be a little much,
yeah,
but
because
I've got
there's
to
a
get
lot.
through the first book.
But
I do want to do that.
I did binge on those back in the early days because there were probably maybe 10 of them out when I started reading them. And so I did go from one to the next until I got caught up. And then I've been staying caught up ever since.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, Little House is not out of print. It's the Martha years, the Charlotte years, and the Caroline years. Those are out of print. The Little House books by Laura Ingalls Wilder will probably never go out of print, but the ones that they wrote in the '90s by the authors that all start with WIL, like Wilkes and was it Wilkes or Wilkins and Wiley, um, myself and Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf, we were talking about doing a read along and, like, starting at the beginning with the oldest, which would be her oldest ancestor, I think, is Martha, and read the Martha years, and then the Charlotte years, and then the Caroline years, and then the Laura years, and then the Rose years. And it would take like a year to read through the whole thing and do a read along. And we were all
Mhm.
set to do it. And then Naomi was like, wait a minute, I don't have all the books and I can't get them. And I realized that you can't get them. They're not even on ebook. So we started a letter writing campaign and I'm still encouraging people to do it, to email. It's HarperCollins Publicity or publicity at harpercollins.com. I don't know. It's in if you go to my announcement video for the Little House Readathon that we did in February, there's a link there, or there's the email address is there to go
Okay.
and write to
I'll have to
the
go do that.
HarperCollins to ask them to please at least put them on ebook so that people can have access to them. Because
Okay.
I've collected some from library sales, and our library has some, but there's one that I don't have that the library doesn't have either. And the cheapest I could find it on eBay, it's $80.
Good
So
God.
it's just crazy. Yeah, yeah. But we'll do it, Shalise, at some point if we can ever get them to publish those again. We will do it. So let me answer Storm's question. The book that we were talking about reading for July is Bloom by Kenneth Oppel, Oppel. and I've got it on hold through Overdrive, but I'm waiting for it. And it said I went ahead and put it on hold because there were a couple people ahead of me, so I'll probably be able to get it in July. So
Okay.
at some point in July.
And hello, Tish.
Hi. Thanks for
Oh,
seeing my post and coming over. I
yeah.
forgot to do. I was supposed to do that this morning, and I had a 10 o'clock meeting for Historical Society in my town. And then Katie and I went to Walmart, and then I got back, and we were talking about one thing or another. And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I gotta go do this."
Oh, it's fine. It's
We're just chatting about this, that, and another. Sweet baby,
okay.
right?
Let's see. Sweet
So
baby
yeah,
Ray.
and Shalice, if you start seeing them, when you see them, you should grab them. And if you find doubles, I'll send you the list of the ones I have. I would totally reimburse you and pay the shipping if you wanted to mail them media mail. I'll give you a list of the ones I don't have. The one that I couldn't find anywhere is it's the fourth one in one of it's either the Martha or the Charlotte. Um, Hang on, let me look it up. I started collecting them just because that's what I do, and like I would see them at library sales and stuff and think, "Oh, I'll get that." And then not this year, but last year, I checked out from the library the ones I didn't have so I could show them all because I was doing a video series all during the Little House Readathon, and I couldn't find that one anywhere. It's like Pudding Stone Dam. That's it. Something about Pudding Stone Dam, and it's the fourth book, and I think the second series. And I don't have it. Library doesn't have it, and it was like $80 or $85 on eBay.
Goodness,
See if I can look it up.
that's crazy that it was that much.
Across the Pudding Stone Dam. There it is.
Oh, okay.
So right there, if you ever see that one, it's like gold. Grab it. Melissa Wiley is the author.
Okay.
Now, I'm sure that whoever wrote these, they gave them WIL names, so their pen names, so that they would be on the shelf right next to Wilder. So that way people would find them. But the only ones that are not WIL are the Rose Years, which are Roger Lee McBride. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. You can probably hear my dog. He's barking.
That's okay.
So she says, "No, I'm
She
going to be
said,
looking
now that I am
for
going.
5 minutes." I know. Yeah, same here. Same here. Oh, I'm so sorry. Shh. I don't know why he's barking. They get real excited about stuff outside.
Yeah. We have cats instead of dogs. And we only have one cat inside. I don't know where
Yeah.
she is.
Hang on. Let me go let the dog out. He's
Okay.
hang on. I'll be right back.
Okay. So while she's gone, I'll ask y'all, what are y'all currently reading? I'm currently listening to
There's
Arsenic
actually two
and
of them. They
Adobo.
get so excited to go outside. It sounds like we're living in a lion's den when they go out. They're like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
They're very friendly. They just get rambunctious, and they are catahoulas, so they're very loud.
Okay. But I was asking everybody what they're currently reading, and I'm currently listening to Arsenic and Adobo on
Okay.
Libby. I think it's on Libby.
Didn't I feel like somebody's book club was reading that. Is that why you picked it up,
They're
or?
gonna. I had seen people doing it. I'd seen people talking about it, but when I picked it up, I didn't. When I saw it, I didn't realize that that's what I remembered it from. Was
Okay.
I think it's gonna be August is when
I
they're
think it
doing
was book
a
of the month
row.
pick.
Um,
Was it
Rose was saying that she was gonna have it for hers for
for book
August.
club?
Yes.
Okay. I
So
think it was book of the month book recently
okay.
too, and so a lot of people had it because of
Yeah.
that. I've never done book of the month. I know I wouldn't be able to
Me
keep up,
neither.
and
No, me neither.
I just can't justify doing it. I mean, because they're new releases, which would be great, but usually I'll just get them at the library if it's,
Yeah.
a new release. And I would get it and I wouldn't read it when it was new. It would sit around until I, got to it, and it would just not be. And by that point, I could get it used at the library sale. So
Yeah.
it just doesn't pay for me to do book of
Yeah.
the month.
So what are you reading right now?
Well, I've got several things. I finished up a stack. I finished like five different books the night that the Golden Girls readathon ended. So then the next
Okay.
morning, I started like five more books because I finished five, so I started a bunch.
Okay.
This is a cozy mystery I'm reading right now. Wild Goose Chase by Terry Thayer. It's a quilting mystery. And
Oh, okay.
so far, I sat down and I read like four chapters all in a row, so it kept me going. But the main character is kind of unlikable. She's real snarky, but that kind of makes it entertaining. So it's kind of good and bad.
Okay.
And then I have the last Chronicles of Prydain. This is a Newbery winner. Sorry, the lighting's terrible.
Okay.
Um, the
That's
High
fine.
King. This is the Newbery winner from 1960.
Okay.
And
Is
then this one,
1960 is
1960.
the
Yeah.
is the 60s what you're on now, or
Yes.
you not reading them like that?
I am on the 60s. I've read a bunch from different decades, but now that I started my video series, I'm trying to kind of go back and finish up the ones in different decades that I hadn't read
Okay.
yet. So like I started with the 90s and then the 80s and 70s. And so when I got to the 60s, I still had a, a handful that I hadn't read, and then this is a five-book series, and this is book five. So it's taken me a
Okay.
while because I wanted to read the whole series, and I'm glad I did. I think, you know, you could probably read this as a standalone, but I'm really looking forward to it now because I know the characters, and the characters are so great.
Okay.
And I'm almost kind of sad that this is the last one because I've really come to love those characters, and it's a really good series. And then this
Yeah.
book I just picked back up because I started it in January, and then it never fit with any readathons in between January and now. And this is set in Georgia, I'm pretty sure. Um, so yeah, the author lives in Bishop, Georgia. Is that anywhere near where you are?
Okay. I have
Do you
no
know where
idea.
that
I've
is?
never heard of that.
um, so anyway, this is very southern, and the thing I don't like about this is about a lady whose husband uh passes away near the beginning of the book. She's got two daughters that she's kind of adopted. And I say kind of because it's complicated. She's basically raising these two teenage girls. And
Okay.
so I feel like her husband has only been dead. I'm about halfway through the book, and her husband's only been dead, I feel like only a few months. And all of her friends are trying to get her to date. And I'm like, give her a minute, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Look
no,
at
let
it.
her. Yeah. So anyway, that was the only thing that's bothering me about that one. And I'm reading the Pastoral June group read, Lark Rise to Candleford.
Is that good?
Yes, it's really good. It's kind of like Little House on the Prairie and Anne of Green Gables, but set in England. That's kind of what
Okay.
it reminds me of. It's 1880s, so it's that time frame, but it's small town England in the 1880s. So yeah, so Anne of Green Gables is Canada, Little House on the Prairie is U.S., and that's this girl, a girl named Laura, and her brother Edmund in England.
Okay.
So yeah,
That sounds like it'd be good.
yeah, but it's not written for children. It has children in it because it's like a memoir almost,
Okay.
a semi-autobiographical. So it's not written for children. It just has children in it.
Okay. Storm says it's one of her favorite series.
Oh, okay, the book series or the TV series? Because there's a TV series. We started
Yeah,
doing a watch along, and we've watched one episode. We're going to watch another episode tomorrow night for our watch along with Angie from Literary Labors and a few other people.
okay.
Yeah,
That sounds fun.
yeah. So, what is she saying about Gaslight? Is that I've read
Um,
the first Gaslight book, Storm, but didn't ever get any further. So they're talking about what they're reading. Let me go back up.
yeah.
So
Let's
Storm says
see.
she's reading Denied by Mary Killicoa and Murder on Sisters Row by Victoria Thompson. Oh, that's the Gaslight book.
Yeah,
Victoria Thompson writes the Gaslight series.
okay. And
Let's
then
do the
Sawdust
first
and
mate.
Living is reading First Mate by
Stealing
Tabitha
First Mate.
Bolden.
I'm not familiar with that.
It's part of the
Independence Island
Independent
series.
Island series. Okay. Yeah. Okay. She said, "Did it work?" What? I'm lost.
Yeah, you have to go back up.
I just say,
Chanel was just asking Storm what one of her books was about, and she was telling her it's from the Gaslight series about brothels.
yeah, but did it work? Nope, girl tried changing my name thing. Oh,
Oh,
the changing of the name thing. Okay.
you might not be able to do it while you're on here. You probably have to
Yeah,
go
go out
off
and
of a
come back.
video. Yeah, you'd have to go out and come back in.
But I think we're about to close her down, if that's okay.
Yeah, if you need to go,
Already
I'm good
about
either way. So
nine,
it's been fun.
almost nine. So I think it has been fun,
Yeah.
and I'd love to have you on my channel again.
Well, anytime, let me know.
So,
And I was going to tell you, I really think it's cool that you have been praying at the end of your live streams. And so I didn't want you to be shy about doing it just because I'm here. We can totally pray. I think that's
okay.
awesome.
I wanted to see, did anybody have any prayer requests and anything? So I'll give that a minute, and then I'll try to pray. I don't do such a great job.
You know what?
Uh,
It's as long as it's from your heart. That's what's important. But you can always pray for us and for my daughter and her health and seizures. And we'd love to get rid of the seizures and all of that.
okay.
So.
Okie dokie. And if you don't mind, could you pray for my great aunt Rosa? She's having surgery tomorrow.
Oh,
She
okay.
has breast cancer.
Okay.
So
So is this the initial surgery and then she may have to
yeah.
do treatments later,
Well, they said
like a lumpectomy or
because of
something?
her age, chemo probably wasn't the right route to
Hmm.
go. 90, so that's probably not the best route to
She might
go.
could do
But
radiation or something, or maybe they can
yeah,
get it all.
something. But they're hoping they can just get it all.
Hmm.
So, and she'll take some recovery time and all.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
oh, I
definitely.
think she got it changed. And read another chapter.
Yes, there you go. You did it. Yay.
Yes, it's prayer request time. Yes, please. Sister-in-law's niece is in the hospital. Physical and mental health needs. Well, God knows all her needs. Amby, it was nice meeting you. Well, it was nice
Yeah,
meeting
I'm glad
you,
you came.
Cherie.
Stay for the prayer because we're going to
Is
actually
that
have
a
Amber usually prays at the end before we sign off. So you can
yeah,
stay for that if you want.
I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. I
Like I
always
said,
do
it
it
just comes from
back,
your heart.
but
Mhm.
um, here we go. Dear God, I pray for, was it Sharice? I think that's her name, her. And if it's not her, then somebody else is in the chat. Mother, sister-in-law's niece is in the hospital, and just help her, heal her. I know you can with all of her needs, and everything and help Elizabeth's daughter with her seizures, get them gone. I know you can, and I pray for everybody else in the chat that if they have any prayer requests, that you answer those. And just thank you for letting me have this live and it being so good with actual people to chat with, and for Elizabeth coming and her being such a good friend to me, even though we've never met. And just let us all have a good rest of the week. And good night. In God's name, amen.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I'm going to try to start off like I normally do. Happy reading, happy crafting, and goodbye. God bless. I always forget it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was fun.
Bye. See y'all later.